they have someone who can put their arm around them and show them the way. Stephen A. Smith, they just have more people saying, yeah, keep doing that shit. Yeah. Keep being a talent. Keep doing the shit you're doing. But not knowing, you're going to put a cap on that man. Mm-hmm. And now that he's saying, I want to be the highest paid talent, you already the highest paid talent. You want to get paid higher than Pat McAfee.
Right.
He's not being paid as talent.
Right.
So you're looking at it backwards because that man not talent. Right. That man came with an entire show. That man came with Aaron Rodgers coming to his
sensitivity so separately.
You definitely did mention the Stephen A. Smith contract. How I wanted to talk about that because I think that is the next big ripple in sports.
What's that?
Whatever happens with him. Because all right, so when it comes to Stephen A., right? My thing with him is he got the deal right now, right? So his deal is gonna be up this year. So he signed the deal a few years ago for $10 million. But then they told him to take the pay cut. He said he was on Joe Budden podcast and he said he took the $2 million pay cut so they can keep they can bring in the revolving guests. So he made $8 million over the last 4 years or whatever. They gave Pat McAfee $16 a year for 5 years off the rip. Stephen A. just told them, I want to be the highest paid talent here. And that is my problem with Stephen A. You're using the wrong words when you're talking to big business. If you're only talent, they're going to pay you as talent. You've reached the talent cap.
Yeah.
Talent's only getting $10 million a year, bro. You've reached that cap. Pat is getting all of this money because he brought an entire network with him. He brought a show. He brought an entire show.
Look, if y'all ain't pay attention, you see how I came over to the 5-1 Great Network. I ain't come with my hands out.
You feel me?
You heard me?
So it's like
came
you
with,
it's a
can't.
different day and age. He think his name gonna hold enough weight
to quote my guy, I came with chicken, nigga. I ain't come with my hands out. I had chicken already, nigga. I was already making chicken.
It's crazy to say that, though, because he made a point on his response on the Shannon Sharp shit that Shannon Sharp was undercutting himself as.
Yeah, but Shannon has. So here's the difference. Because Stephen A. Smith is following in that footsteps with his own podcast. The big difference is Shannon didn't have a podcast at first. He had a show. Yeah. Club Shay Shay is a show. He calls it a podcast, but it's a show. And he's also that Club Shay Shay is also signed to Volume. So all right, my beef with the Stephen A. Smith thing is you could be Bill Simmons, you could be Colin Cowherd, you could be Dan Le Batard, you could be Pat McAfee, you could have been any of them because they all have their own networks. They all have their own shit. Look at fucking Colin Cowherd. He got the Volume. If you ever watch a sports podcast, just look for that V. It's on Club Shay Shay. Look at Club Shay Shay in the corner.
It's next to DraftKings.
It's right, that V. Go watch all the top sports podcasts. That V is on there. That nigga was a sports reporter.
Yep.
Same thing Stephen A. Smith was.
And figured out how to transition. Because he's seen his potting world coming. He's seen his platform world coming.
He had someone to put their arm around him. Who? Bill Simmons. He also did it with the Ringer. He goes and he starts the Ringer.
Is that the Bill Simmons? That's the guy that be at games and all of that. His book down. I got his book on my table.
Yeah, Bill Simmons.
The basketball book.
The Ringer. He's signing like he has networks. But again, these are, and I don't want to make it a white versus black thing, but that's the difference when white people, they have someone who can put their arm around them and show them the way. Stephen A. Smith, they just have more people saying, yeah, keep doing that shit. Yeah. Keep being a talent. Keep doing the shit you're doing. But not knowing, you're going to put a cap on that man. Mm-hmm. And now that he's saying, I want to be the highest paid talent, you already the highest paid talent. You want to get paid higher than Pat McAfee.
Right.
He's not being paid as talent.
Right.
So you're looking at it backwards because that man not talent. Right. That man came with an entire show. That man came with Aaron Rodgers coming to his show every Tuesday. You know, Aaron Rodgers costs money. Niggas was mad. Did she not hear? What?
No, she's sick. She talking about she hate that name, Club Shay Shay.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's stupid.
She put some rainbow emojis in.
But it's like Stephen A. I just want more. Like, all right, prime example with his podcast. The difference between him and Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp has this show, Club Shay Show, where he interviews people. But then he started Nightcap with Ocho. Then he interviewed Gilbert Arenas, realized, I fuck with you. Just started a Nightcap with basketball now. So now when he goes to re-up, I got 3 shows to bring you. The same thing with I got 3 shows to bring you. Stephen A. Smith, your problem is you speak about sports, and now on your podcast, you talking about Coily Ray, you talking about Blueface and Krishan, you talking about all this dumb shit that nobody tunes into you about. Nobody tunes into you for this shit. So now when you go to try to sell this show, it's not gonna be the same,
right?
As when Stephen A. Smith Shannon Sharp selling the show,
because he's still staying with sports, what people know him for.
Even when him and Ocho go off on they rants, it's still on the Nightcap where they're talking about sports. It comes on Sunday night after all the Sunday games and Monday night after all the after Monday Night Football. Gil comes on Thursdays after the Thursday night games and on Saturdays after the Saturday games. They know what they do. So that's my thing with Stephen A. Smith is like, you want the contract, you want the money, but you're not putting yourself in the right position to get the money that you worth, that you deserve. Nobody works harder than that nigga.
So ultimately, what you think gonna happen with him?
They're gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him, but they're gonna give him $10 million. They're gonna give him what they're gonna do is they're gonna give him the $10 million a year. Or they might give him 12 because we took 2 from you from before, so let's give you 12. Pat is going to get 20 now. All right, let's be very clear. Pat turned that. ESPN gave Pat McAfee that money to stop him from doing the internet shit. Because Pat just had 150. Yeah, he had 150 M's from DraftKings to stay on YouTube. 150 M's. So what you think ESPN gave him under the table? They gave that nigga just $16 million a year.
Yeah.
To give up 150, they gave him a lot more than that.
Right.
He still got to pay Aaron Rodgers $3 million a year to just come on his platform every Tuesday. He paying that nigga $3 million a year to come on his platform. Like, crazy. It's money. But Steve, I think they're gonna pay him, and I think they're gonna keep him. Nigga, they made that nigga build a studio in his house. Cause when we want to call you and say get on and yell at the screen, we don't need you to come in. Do that shit at your house. They made nigga, please. They're gonna pay him to be exactly what he is. Talent.
Shit like that.
Talent. You gotta add value, bro. You're not adding value.
That's crazy.
You're not adding value. Because they can go get a young nigga.
True.
It's nothing for them to just say, go on YouTube, watch a bunch of young niggas,
and grab one,
and say, yo,
bring him.
He may not be Stephen A. Smith at first,
but because Stephen A. wasn't Stephen A.
but
at
we
first.
can get him there.
Right.
We can get him there. We put him in the same room with Stephen A. for years.
Stephen A.
He be in the building.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Sensitivity,